This is the result of what I'm about to show you guys right now. As you can see, it's a very simple sleeve design. It's a functioning sleeve. This is what it's going to look like. You can do several design with this kind of sleeve. You're going to attach your button, maybe 3 or 4, or depending on the amount of button you want, and you can do several design with it. It's functioning. So without further ado, let me take you guys through the process of doing this. So here, as you can see, I already cut out my sleeve. So the very first thing I'm going to do, my sleeve length is supposed to be a 25.5, right? So I have 22 plus a quarter of an inch. You can see that for the inseam allowance. You can see that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my extension, which is going to be a total of 23.5. So I'm going to have a quarter of an inch to that also for the inseam allowance. So I'm going to have a total of 3.8. You can see that a total of 3.8 that I will be cutting for the extension. So the quarter will be for the inseam allowance, just a little bit. You can just join together and just weave around. So on the wrist itself, as you can see, my wrist circumference is going to be a total of 5 inches, which is 10 inches, right? So I'm going to divide the 10 by 2, which will give me 5. So I'm going to mark that 5 at that part. So when you're making the cufflinks, don't forget you're going to have the place in which you're going to take your placket that you're opening. So from that 5 inches on this one, I'll be measuring 2.5. You can see that I've just chopped that 2.5. So I'm going to make a notch at that particular point. It is very important. That's where we're going to join our overlap for the sleeve, for the wrist extension, let me say. So I'm going to make a notch at that point. You can see. You guys can see that notch right there. So that would be like the center point when I'm about to stitch my extension. That's the sleeve extension. So I'm going to join this side and I'm going to weave it. You should weave it before you join your extension. And you can even attach it to the borders itself. Just do the finishing, attach the right side to the right side and the wrong side to the right side, to the wrong side. Sorry, I'm making mistake with my words. So after that, the next thing I'll be doing is I'll be cutting out the wrist circumference on a separate fabric. So that will be doubled, right? So the wrist circumference itself is going to be a total of 10. So I'm going to add an extra 2 inches to that for the overlap, right? Making 12. So for the joining, I'm going to add an extra 1 inches to that, making a total of 13, right? So I want you guys to pay attention to what I am doing right now. So you're going to get exactly the same result. So here, I already cut out 3 by 8. You see, as I told you, it's not up to 4 inches. This is not up to 4 inches. It is 3 by 8. I'll be joining a quarter of an inch, joining it from the sleeve to the extension. So, right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add an interfacing to it, a soft interfacing on the face of the fabric itself. So the length itself is a total of 13 inches. You know, we are supposed to have 12 for the overlap. So I added an extra 1 inches to that for the joining allowance, which make it 13. I'll be joining half inch at each of the side. So I'm going to add the fusing now. Pam. So I already had the fusing to this. You can see what we have. So to join it, I'll be folding it backward and I'll be joining half of an inch at each of the side, just like you're doing a normal cufflink sleeve, but this is quite simple and kind of like a different design. So you can see what we have: 13. I'll be joining half of an inch at each of the sides to take out just our 1 inches to make a complete of 12 inches. So as you can see, I already joined my sleeve on this one. So we have our exact 5 inches for the wrist circumference, and I already joined this half of an inch on the extension itself. So I'm going to trim out the extension. I'm going to trim out the inseam allowance at that side. You can see after trimming it out, I'm going to turn it out and pinpoint all those edges. Make sure they are pinned out and they are straight. So you can see after pinpointing those edges, you can do several designs with this kind of sleeve. Actually, you can cut it to curve. You can make that edges a curve or make it a round. So as you can see, after ironing it and pinpointing those edges, I'm going to overlap it. I'm going to make my overlap. You can see, depending on the side that you want, you see this how it's going to look if you're doing the left hand side. So we are doing the left hand side on this one. So all you just have to do is just to get your wrist circumference, which is 5 inches as said earlier. You can see, just make sure that you get your exact wrist circumference. On this one it is 5. Just make sure it is accurate. So after you get that, the next thing we are going to do, we're going to stitch that edges just to hold it down. So you can see I already hold it down. So if I put it on my sleeve, I'm going to have something like this. You can see that. So you can easily put your button hole, depending on the one you want, either 3 or 4, and attach your button under it to take it over. So the next thing we are going to do now is to turn it to the right side. You can see I'm going to get that my notch part. So I'm going to place it right there and make a stitch around. After stitching it around, I'll do a turn up, then I'll have my sleeve right there. You can see what we're doing. So it's very simple as A, B, and C. So I'm just going to like stitch it to the borders, to the sleeve itself. Yeah, sleeve is part of the body. so here we'll be joining the 1/4 of an inch that we sealed before, that we added for our extra inches. Don't forget, for our inseam allowance. So just stitch it straight. I want you guys to pay attention. Before we stitch this, make sure you already weaved your side joining on the sleeve. On this one, I've not weaved it, but I will weave it after. I just want you guys to have a good understanding of it, that you should weave it before you stitch that part to the extension, to the sleeve extension. You can see what we have. So I'm going to just turn it over so that I can do the closing on the wrist. You can see that. So I'm just going to, as that's joining on the sleeve, after you weave it, don't forget you have to weave it. You are going to open that side. You're not supposed to stitch it straight because it will make a rumbling on your wrist after you do that. So you have to like open it up into 2. Don't forget you have to have weaved that side before you do this. So open it and sew it round. So cut out the thread and turn it to the front. So this is what our sleeve is going to look like. Take your time to give it a good ironing. Make sure it's relaxed very well and it's balanced. So that's what we're going to have. So when you put your hand inside the sleeve, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to look like a normal cufflink sleeve, kind of like a little bit stylish. You can see that. So you can put a designer button on the wrist that you're opening. So you're going to make your button holes, put your button holes or just attach your button direct, depending on what you want. I feel like the button holes goes very well, so it's going to be a functional sleeve. So that's what it will look like. So far this is what we're going to have. Very simple design. Make your button holes depending on the amount of button you want. As I said earlier, 4, 3. On this one I'll be doing 3. Put your button on that side. You see what we have so far, a designer button, but this is the button I have currently, so I'm just using it for a sample. So that's what we have. If you like this video so far and you want to try it, make sure you give it a thumb up and subscribe to the channel if you are yet to subscribe. To see more of our video, I'll suggest you click on the bell notification icon on the channel to get notified when we upload newer videos. So that's about it. If you like to see more of our video, in case you want to join our Telegram channel, I'll put a link in the description below. And in case you want to join our intensive class on suits making, senator designs and stuff like that, I'll put a link in the description below to the website. So that's about it on this video, and I will see you on my next video. Peace and enjoy yourself.